Welcome everyone to the 2019 Honda Passport. Now this is a Pilot with about 6 inches lobbed off of the rear and with the third row totally deleted. With a marketplace that is crazy about SUVs, Honda has built this car to occupy a space that previously they weren't fully involved in. Now Honda's done something I think quite interesting with this car to separate it from the other midsize SUVs. They've tried to make this Passport more off-road friendly than any of its competitors. And that's why you'll see a lot of mud splattered all the way up the sides, using it as God and Honda intended it to be used. And additionally, make it a much more involving drive as well. It's got a more athletic suspension setup. It's got some additional body cladding around the sides and the front. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the Passport for an in-depth drive, a little bit of off-roading, nothing too serious, and see how it compares against other mid-size SUVs in my ranking system, to find out at the very end of the video where it stands against its competitors. So without further ado, let's go for a drive. So the Passport has exactly one powertrain configuration for the Canadian market. It's an SUV with all-wheel drive and a 3.5-litre naturally aspirated V6. It produces 280 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. It goes through Honda's 9-speed automatic transmission with the very familiar button arrangement down here. Now, there's quite a few people that have had criticism towards the 9-speed transmission, myself included. My family owns a Honda Odyssey minivan that has the 9-speed, and from time to time you can feel a lot of jerky motion when it comes to shifting up or shifting down. But with the experience that I've had with this car so far behind the wheel, it feels rather quite seamless. You have the ability to change the gears manually if you want to with the plastic paddle shifters behind the wheel and switching it into sport mode, leading this Passport to be a rather compliant and composed car to drive. Having a naturally aspirated engine is rare to find in the industry now, and it has a good little character to it. As throaty as a non-performance car engine and exhaust note can sound like. The steering's absolutely on the light side of things, but it isn't over-boosted, and it's very easy to tell where the front wheels are. If you are ever taking this car off-roading in the muddiest of ruts, you can quickly lose the communication with the front wheels, and that's a somewhat scary thing to do if you're going down a hill, let's say. But speaking about off-road capability, you also do have a few different driving modes. So when you press this little button here, you can go from normal, snow, to mud, to sand. They'll change around the all-wheel drive's capability and the traction control. And you can also have the display set up here where you see where all of the power is going. A little bit of body roll, but I'll forgive it just considering how large of a car this Passport is. Now, chatting about the interior, if you're familiar with the latest Honda Odyssey or recently updated Pilot, then this space is going to be equally recognizable to you as well. You have the large touchscreen that you'll find in a lot of Honda's vehicles these days. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are included, as you would expect. I really like this system, really quick to respond, accurate to your touch inputs, and you have a volume knob on the side. This is an update that came along in the new Pilot as well, whilst that one was using that weird touch scroll thing. Now it has a physical volume knob as well. Honda tried to reinvent the wheel, getting rid of that volume knob, but enough complaint from us and the consumers proved to them that they really didn't need to go to that far of length. Everything below is no nonsense, very logical. The dual zone climate control, and you have the ability to change the rear climate control settings. So really this makes this car a tri-zone climate control. Here we've got the heated and ventilated front seat, a heated steering wheel, plenty of space here in the cup holders, the wireless phone charger. Like the door pockets in the Odyssey, you have the ability to store about 27,000 water bottles in them, and newspapers and coins and anything else that you would see appropriate to go in that space. And then here you have the center compartment, which you could lose things down here. It is enormous. Added into this vehicle, having the wireless phone charger, and then this little section just above it where you could throw away your phone if you don't have a wireless charging feature on it. The leather seats in this car, you can see, actually have these armrests that are ratcheted, so you can try and find that perfect position for you. And seeing as this center console is quite low, it's nice to have these here, not only to sit more upright, but it feels like you're kind of laid back in an armchair that you'd find in your living room. With no third row seating, you truly have a massive space to play around in. Back there, you have 2 buttons to lower the left-hand side and right-hand side seats. You can slide those seats forwards and backwards if you want more legroom or more space in the trunk. Speaking about the trunk, yes, it's massive. You can fit pretty much anything you want in that space. Lifting it up, you'll see there's a little more hidden storage as well. It is a very dark cabin in here. There really isn't much color outside of the touchscreen. And I am a little disappointed to see how much piano black plastic there is across the dashboard, on the door cards, down in the center console, and around the steering wheel buttons. This space especially, this is what's going to get the greasiest and the scratched up the most, as you're always resting your hands here. You're always interacting with these buttons to use your volume controls or the information on the screen or the adaptive cruise control system. So this will probably age your car quite quickly. Back seats though, absolutely no complaints back there, as this is a true mid-size SUV. There's a lot of space for 6-footers. You could even fit 3 6-footers abreast, as there's absolutely no drivetrain hump there at all, and the ability to charge up devices if you wish. With the outside rear heated seats too, make it quite attractive to anybody that's looking for a car in this segment. There's 3 trim levels in Canada. You have the entry-level Sport, the EXL, and the Touring, and it's hard to compare the equipment levels with this car and the Pilot, upon which this car is based, because here there's only 3 trims, whilst currently for the 2019 model year there's 6 different trims for the Pilot. But standard equipment that you get in this car is Honda sensing, so that includes your lane keep assist, the adaptive cruise control system, forward collision warning, and rear cross traffic alert. The heated steering wheel, the heated front seats, the digital instrument cluster, and the touch screen, as I mentioned. But the starting prices of both of these cars, you're going to pay a $900 premium for the Passport. But again, as it's hard to compare the different pieces of equipment that you'll get in each trim level or standard equipment in each car, it's worth paying attention to exactly what it is you're looking for. Driving on the highway is greatly acceptable. It's very quiet, and despite having the cross rails that are on this car and these accessory side steps, that probably contributes to a noisier car at speed, but truly nothing to complain about at all in that respect. The touch points where they matter on the steering wheel and where you rest your arms and the seats are all leather, or they're just a very nicely padded plastic. But there is a lot of hard touch plastics around, and perhaps not enough soft touch. For example, where I have my knees resting up against this component here, it's a hard touch, and if you're going off-roading or you're doing some driving on some really sloppy roads, you bang your knee up against that, it's eventually going to get irritating. Now, the Passport does look different to the Pilot. It's got the different grille, the back end is slightly different, but for a totally new name and category, I kind of wish they had done more to change around this car. The back end just looks empty, to put it simply. There isn't a lot to talk about back there. Yeah, just for a new name and a new mission that they are quite boastful of, personally, I would have wanted to see a little bit more. Yes, the Honda Passport has a lot more off-roading credential than its competitors. It's incredibly spacious, refined to drive and sit in, and I think it's a brilliant execution when it comes to packaging with the interior space in a car. But it isn't that involving to drive. Personally, I kind of wish Honda would have done more with this Passport. And if you're looking for a mid-size SUV that's much more comfortable, much more relaxed on daily commuting or highway driving, I think there's other cars in this segment that do it better. So that's why I think you should test drive the Honda Passport. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video. Please like the video if you liked it and share it if you think other people will like it too. And if you want to hit that subscribe button just down below, that does the world for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.